All right, there we go. All right, well, thank you all very much for coming out here this morning to learn about an absolutely amazing bucket list trip. I'll be steering the ship here for everyone. My name's Mitchell Mack. All of you can just call me Mitch for short. I'm the local business development manager for Collette. So I am local here in Ohio. I cover the entire state and a portion of West Virginia as well. I'm in the Hudson area, Streetsboro, major brownie points. If anyone in the room has heard of Streetsboro, it's a small little town. You're usually just passing through to get to your next location. But been here for 7 years, lived in Wadsworth for 2 years, originally from Erie, Pennsylvania. But I do consider myself an Ohioan because I've lived in the state for 9+ years now. Absolutely love it. I love to travel. And I was telling Danielle, I just got back from doing one of Colette's tours to Ireland. It was a 13-day tour, and it was amazing. We got to see not only Southern Ireland, some of the must-sees like Dublin, Waterford, Killarney, but we also had a chance to make it up north into Northern Ireland, which is so different from the Republic of Ireland and technically part of the UK. So I still am a little bit on Ireland time, still trying to shake off a little bit of that jet lag, but I'm extremely excited to have the chance to share this amazing itinerary, this 10-day Discover Switzerland, Austria, Bavaria. I know when I asked, none of you have been on a Collette tour before, so a little bit of background on Collette, who we are, what kind of product do we deliver to our clients. It's a guided tour. So whenever I say guided, I like to describe it as, thought-free travel, because when we get up in the morning, we don't have to think about, all right, what exactly are we going to do today? What are we going to see? How exactly do we get there? Do we have to worry about, going online and trying to book hotel tickets or book, our own private tour guide for the day? Does somebody have to worry about, navigating a rental car and driving in a foreign country and trying to figure out foreign street signs? None of it. It's truly no frills, thought-free travel. You wake up in the morning and you know exactly what you're going to be doing. And it's just a nice way to experience a new destination. I find that with a guided tour, you make such better use of your time in the destination because everything is professionally planned and put together by a company who's been doing this for 105 years now. This is our 105th year in business. For those of you that are unfamiliar with Collette, maybe there's some Wheel of Fortune watchers in the room. For any wheel watchers, that's usually where folks have heard of us from. We've had a partnership with them for 15+ years, and we've sent Pat and Vanna all over the world, giving away, some of the grand prizes on Wheel of Fortune. In terms of the quality that you can expect to see on the tour, we're considered to be a 4-star tour operator. So we're putting you all in, fantastic 4-star or better accommodations. And quality is important, but I think location is, can be even more important, especially in the cities of Bern and in Innsbuck. And we put you right in the heart of the action. You're not staying in a Motel 6 or a Comfort Inn out in the boondocks somewhere where, it takes you half an hour, 45 minutes to get transportation in and out of the city. It's so nice to be able to step right outside of your hotel room and you're smack dab in the middle of the action. You're right where you want to be. You're within walking distance to the major shops, the sites, in restaurants. You've got everything right there, and it's just so convenient. So with guided tours, you make a lot better use of your time in the destination. Your dollar goes a lot further because it's so hard to piece and put together an experience like this for the price point that we're able to offer because of the, the relationships that we have with our vendors. So in terms of what's included in the tour, you've got a good portion of the meals. So you'll always have a good full breakfast in the morning to fuel you up for the day. About half of the dinners are included. And the nice part about the dinners are, traditionally we get you outside of the hotel into some of these local restaurants with a deep history. They might be family owned because we're family owned ourselves. We like to include a lot of, enriching cultural experiences. In my opinion, that's one of the best parts about travel. And that's a big difference when you do a guided tour. We're able to connect you with the locals, with the local culture, so you can truly immerse yourself and have these amazing cultural experiences and feel like, you not only got to experience these destinations, but you got to ingratiate yourself with the local culture. You have a professional tour manager who's with you every step of the way. So I don't guide the tours. I'm the local business development manager. You probably wouldn't want me being the tour manager. I could provide a little bit of, comical relief, but other than that, these tour managers that you have are absolute experts in the destination. For instance, my tour guide that I just had in Ireland, his name was John. He's from Cork, so he was born and raised in Ireland. He's been guiding with Collette for 36 plus years now, and his knowledge base was absolutely incredible. I mean, he made the trip exactly what it was. When it comes to a guided tour, if you don't have a good guide showing you around and bringing the destination to life and adding color to it, you don't end up having a good tour. And that's one of the big differentiators between Collette and the other guided tour companies out there is, we've got some of the best tour managers in the industry, in addition to fantastic motor coach drivers, local step-on guides. All of your transportation in destination is included. So we use full-size motor coaches. The maximum group size is 44, in case any of you were wondering, how many people do we travel with? We've got 10 seats specifically held for the Wood County Center. And then we meet up with other people on the tour. And it's just a nice way to meet new people, have different conversations, develop new connections with folks. And I just think that, with a guided tour, one of the common misconceptions, I think, is that, we're constantly go, 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 go every step of the way, and we don't have any free time. We've really, we've heard that feedback from our guests, and we've paced our tours accordingly. So you get all of the meat and potatoes, the must-sees, but then you've got enough free time, whether it be a free afternoon or an entire day of leisure, where you can just kind of recharge the batteries, get away from the group, do your own thing. If there was something that, wasn't included in the itinerary that you wanted to see on your own, the free time gives you the opportunity to do that and kind of customize your experience in a way. So in a nutshell, that's the kind of experience that you can expect to have with Collette, the kind of product that we offer our guests. You're not here to learn about, Collette and our 105-year history. You're here to learn about this amazing bucket list destination. So at this time, everyone can raise their seat backs, tray tables to their upright positions as we make our way over to our Discover Switzerland, Austria, Bavaria, our 10-day tour, traveling August 7th through August 16th. It's, in my opinion, the perfect time of the year to travel on this itinerary. Switzerland, the Bavarian area, is a little bit more of a cooler weather destination. So this is a tour that I definitely recommend doing in the summertime when the weather is absolutely amazing and you've got the best possible experience and are very comfortable on tour. You're expecting to see, mid upper 70s, could be into the 80s on certain days, depending on where you are. But in terms of this tour, I love the pacing of it because it's 4 nights in Bern and 4 nights in Innsbruck. So you're not hotel hopping, doing 1 night, 2 nights. That was the one thing with my tour. Yes, we covered a lot of ground, but we were in a lot of hotels where it was just a 1-night stay or a 2-night stay, which can be a little bit challenging because you've got earlier mornings, bags have to be out at a certain time. With this, a lot more leisurely paced itinerary, which I like, and you can truly dive in to each one of these cities. And then we're taking day trips, hubbing and spoking out to the different surrounding towns. But the town opens up and tour opens up in Bern. This is the capital of Switzerland. It is a UNESCO World Heritage Site, and it's nestled beautifully right in the Swiss countryside. On that first day, it's technically a travel day. So we'll know our flight schedule once we actually have, people booked and signed up. We know exactly how many people are going to be traveling with the group. Then we can go to the airlines and say, hey, we've got X number of people. What can you give us in terms of flight schedules? In terms of the providers that you can expect to see, we're leaving from Detroit. Airfare is included in the price. So with us leaving from Detroit, it's a major Delta hub. So 90% of my groups that are leaving from Detroit are typically on a Delta schedule. We try and, minimize the layovers, either, securing a direct flight or one stopover Delta, Detroit is a little bit easier with it being a major hub. You're not going to be seeing, a 2 stopover in terms of the flight schedule. And we never use the budget airline. So you're never going to see a Spirit, a Frontier, a Southwest in your flight schedule. It'll more than likely be Delta. With these international flights and the time change, you're typically getting in either in the morning or very early in the afternoon. So you're not missing an entire day. It's a nice way to ease yourself into the tour. So we don't have, we don't want to run you ragged. We want to make sure that we're bringing everyone back at the end of the day. So you just basically have that first afternoon free. If you want to take a quick nap, I emphasize the word quick when it comes to the nap. Your internal system is already off with that international flight, the time change. If you take too long of a nap, I find that, it's going to throw you off. You're not going to be able to sleep on that first day. So if you can, just kind of power through it, stay awake on that first day, maybe take a walk, pop into a little cafe, grab a cup of coffee, sit outside if the weather's nice, do a little bit of people watching. Maybe you want to wander down to the Old Town section of Bern. It's, extremely well preserved. The residents here, you'll see both tourists and locals alike because residents have lived here for, over 500 years ago now. So rich history with the Old Town section. The only thing that we've got planned on that first day is going to be the welcome dinner. The welcome dinner is a nice, first experience that we have together as a group. It's a good way to start the trip off on a good note. We have our welcome dinners at, fantastic local restaurants. First glass of beer and wine is included with the welcome dinner. And it's a nice way to start, getting a taste of that Switzerland culinary scene before we really start our touring and sightseeing off the next day and really start to experience Bern and see what the city is ultimately all about. So we've got a panoramic sightseeing tour. We're going to see a number of different things throughout this tour. We're going to see the famous bear pit, which, has expanded but has been in place ever since, the early 1850s. And the bear plays a very big role in the city of Bern. They say that, the first person who came across and stumbled upon Bern was a hunter. And the first animal that he saw when he entered into Bern was a bear. So bear translating into Bern. They do still have an active bear pit in the city. So we'll have a chance to see that. We'll have a chance to see the amazing Gothic cathedral, which dominates the Old Town skyline. Also tour the Rose Gardens and have a chance to see some incredible, panoramic views of the city because it truly is such a beautiful city. There's an amazing river that runs right through the heart of it that kind of separates the Old Town and the New Town section. We'll also, during the tour, have a chance to see the Swiss Parliament building as well. And then afterwards, the tour takes about 2.5, 3 hours or so. So it'll take up the majority of your morning. It'll be a combination of panoramic touring and sightseeing. So that means, touring on the motor coach. So we're seeing as much as possible. And then combined with, a short little walking tour as well. So you can have a little bit of boots on the ground. And then the remainder of your day, once you've got the lay of the land, you've got that first orientation tour under your belt, you've got the afternoon at leisure. So this is your chance to just get away from the group, do your own thing for a little bit in Bern, recharge the batteries, maybe have a nice, lunch, dinner with friends, spouse, whoever you might be traveling with. And the nice part about a tour is your tour manager is always on hand to point you in the right direction when it comes to the free time. So maybe you want to take a ride up on the iconic Gurtenbahn funicular. This is a funicular that climbs up the Gurten Mountain to give you some unbelievable views of the city of Bern. You can actually see from the top some of the different surrounding towns that dot the countryside. You can see the mountains in the distance. And if that's something that you want to do, just ask your tour manager and they'll point you right in the right direction where you need to go and what you need to do to ride that funicular. But that's something that I would recommend doing during some of the free time. The next day, we're going to start to branch out a little bit from Bern. Like I said, we do, some of these hub and I refer to them as hub and spoke because you're here for 4 nights and then we hub and spoke out to some of the different towns around. And the first town is going to be a small little mountain village outside of Interlaken, which is Habkern. And what we do in Habkern is a really cool cultural immersion experience. We go to a local workshop, and the owner of this workshop teaches us all about the Alphorn, which is a traditional Swiss instrument. So they're going to give you some of the ins and outs, the history of it, how exactly these Alphorns are made. Maybe some of you have the musical bone, which I was not blessed with. You've got a chance to try your hand at, playing this musical instrument yourself. And you also, it's accompanied with a yodeling demonstration. Yodeling is definitely a big part of the Swiss culture and their music scene. So a nice little foray into that Swiss musical culture, that musical side. And then later on in the afternoon, for the fondue fans, because Switzerland produces some of the best fondue, some of the best cheeses and fine chocolates as well, not just in Europe, but in the entire world, in my opinion. So in the afternoon, we've got an included fondue lunch at, again, another local restaurant before we head back to Bern for the rest of the evening at leisure. And just so you folks know, whenever you see an included meal in the itinerary, tips are already included for that meal. So anywhere that you have a meal with Collette included, you do not have to worry about reaching into your pocket and paying extra for tips. That's something that we take care of ourselves. If you're eating on your own, 10% is typically the norm when it comes to tipping. Whether you're eating lunch on your own at a local restaurant or dinner, 10% is more than fine. I know we're used to, tipping 15 to 20% as Americans. You can tip that much. It's not, scoffed at. It is welcome, but just so you folks know kind of how tipping works on your own, 10% is kind of the norm. So the next day, we're going to set out for probably my favorite city in Switzerland, and that is Lucerne. There's a very good reason why it's my favorite. It's considered to be the Swiss paradise on the lake. It is absolutely gorgeous. The city has a very rich history as well. I mean, the town itself began as this little tiny Benedictine monastery in the 8th century. And then it just grew and grew and grew into the flourishing city that it is today. It gained, a lot of importance over the years because of its location on trade routes. And that's, ultimately how the city was able to expand itself into the beauty and marvel that it is today. You can see from the picture, it's set, right at the base of the Alps, of the mountains. So when we get in, our tour manager is going to take us on a leisurely paced tour of the Gstaad, which is the Old Town section during our walking tour. So some of the things that we'll have a chance to see in the Old Town section, and a lot of these cities too, are separated into Old Town and New Town section. You'll see it as well when we visit Salzburg a little bit later in the itinerary. But our walking tour is going to highlight that 800 years of history that the town is very well known for. We'll have a chance to walk along the beautiful Chapel Bridge. It's lined with these gorgeous flower boxes, and traveling in August, all of these flowers are going to be in full bloom, and it makes the bridge, in the setting that much prettier. The bridge has been around since the early 1300s. You'll also have a chance to see, if you look at the other end of the bridge, there's this water tower that does have a rich history and a couple of stories that the tour manager will highlight along the way. It served as a couple of different things over the years. It's been a prison, it's been a watchtower, and also a treasury. So some of the other sites that we'll see are the Renaissance style town hall, the Baroque Jesuit church in town. We'll also have a chance to see a beautiful work of art, which is the Lion Monument. It's this amazing sculpture. It's carved out of natural rock and was dedicated to commemorate the heroic Swiss Guard. It's located right above a pond at the east end of the medieval town. And it basically represents the Swiss Guard soldiers who lost their lives serving, King Louis during the French Revolution. So after our walking tour of the city, you've got some free time in Lucerne. They do have some incredible shops, so I don't know if there's any shoppers in the room. Does anyone want to raise their hand and admit to being a little bit of a shopper? It's okay. I'll put my hand up. I think shopping is, one of the great parts about travel, and just finding, something local. Some of the popular items when it comes to shopping are, of course, Swiss Army knives. You can, depending on where you buy it from, they'll engrave your name right into the Swiss Army knife. Lucerne has a lot of different chocolate shops, and you'll find some of the shops that, produce the handmade gourmet chocolate. So I always say, if you're buying that chocolate, that's the chocolate that's coming home with you. That's not for the neighbors, the friends, family. That's a personal purchase because it is a little bit more expensive, but so good, so amazing. During our time in Lucerne, if you don't mind giving up some of your free time, we do have an optional tour. So there's just two options on this tour. So, not constantly reaching into your pocket to constantly add in different tours to the itinerary. There's just two. This is one that if you don't mind giving up a little bit of free time, that I do recommend during your time in Lucerne. And that's the option to travel via cable car up to the top of Mount Pilatus, which on, that clear sunny day, which you guys are going at the right time of the year, to have that perfect weather for it, you can see for miles and miles at the top of Mount Pilatus. And the ride up is absolutely amazing too. I mean, you'll see these quaint little Swiss cabins that, people live in these full time, and they live literally up on the mountainside. You'll see the goats, you'll hear the bells from the cow and cattle that are grazing along the way. And then at the top of Mount Pilatus, you get some of the most amazing, amazing panoramic views. You'll have a chance to see a great view of Lucerne Lake, and you are literally up in the clouds when you're at the top of Mount Pilatus. If this is an option that you're interested in doing, it's a $90 cost. The option takes about 3 hours or so. This was something that I did have a chance to do when I was in Lucerne. And it's something that, again, if you don't mind giving up some of your free time, that I truly do recommend. $90 for a 3-hour tour is not something that's, going to break the bank. So this is an option that I would highly recommend during your time in Lucerne. So later tonight, we've got another included dinner again at one of Bern's fantastic restaurants. And whenever it comes to our included meals, I always like to say the options consist of 4 legs, 2 legs, or no legs. So some sort of meat, a chicken dish, pasta, or vegetarian option. If anyone's gluten-free, we can make those accommodations. If there's any dietary restrictions, just let the tour manager know at the beginning of the tour, and we can make sure that we provide the appropriate accommodations for the meals. So this is going to be our last dinner in Bern, our last time in Switzerland. So really rake it in before we start to make our way to Innsbruck. But before we get there, there's actually another country that's included in this tour. That country is Liechtenstein. Everyone forgets about Liechtenstein because it's just so small. In fact, it's the smallest German-speaking country in the world and the only country to lie entirely within the Alps. There is a couple places in Liechtenstein, because I did have a chance to do it, where if you'd like to, you can pay, I believe it was maybe €3 or so, and they'll actually stamp your passport with the Liechtenstein stamp. So I thought that was one of the unique stamps. You don't see a lot of Liechtenstein stamps in the passport. So we stop here for a couple of hours for lunch or to do a little bit of shopping after a brief little orientation tour of Liechtenstein before we make our way to Innsbruck, where we're going to be calling home for the next 4 nights of our journey. And again, this is a town that is situated right in the mountainside. I love cities like Lucerne because, yes, Vienna is great. It's a fantastic city, but it's a major city. So it's a little bit more commercialized. You don't, in my opinion, get that, true, authentic feel like you do staying in a city like Innsbruck. It is very famous for its winter sports. It was the site of the 1964 and 1976 Olympics. It's situated between, in a valley between mountains, and the town's history, if you're looking for kind of origins, it's about 12th century is how far the town dates back to. And it's got these beautiful, beautiful pastel colored houses all lining the riverway. So when we get into Innsbruck, we've got a little bit of a different way that we're going to do our touring and sightseeing. We call it choice on tour. So choice on tour is different than an optional tour. Choice on tour is already included in your itinerary, but you can pick and choose. It's almost choose your own adventure, if you will, how you want to go about experiencing Innsbruck. Choice number one is the historical and cultural tour. So your guide will take you through the heart of the city, and they'll show you, essentially the main sites, the things that Innsbruck is most well known for. Or we've got the architectural tour. So if anyone is into, that architectural side and learning about the different unique architecture that Innsbruck is well known for, you might want to take the choice of the architectural tour. If you choose the historical and cultural tour, it is a walking tour. So you'll see landmarks such as the Maria Theresienstrasse, which is the main roadway, essentially. This is where the majority of the shops, the restaurants, all line this main Strasse, which is street. You'll see Strasse a lot on this itinerary. That basically just means street. So during the tour, we'll also have a chance to see the Hofburg and also the Golden Roof, which on a sunny day, the sun glimmering off of that golden roof, you can see it from basically the other end of town. It's this beautiful, beautiful golden roof consisting of over 2,600 individual golden tiles built in the late 1400s. And it was basically built by the emperor at the time. That was Emperor Maximilian. It was basically a gift for his marriage to his wife, Bianca. So not a bad little wedding present, a beautifully gilded golden roof. If you're into the architectural side, the architecture tour focuses mainly on, Innsbruck's, yes, unique architecture, but its one crown jewel and claim to fame is its iconic ski jump that they used during the Winter Olympics. And this isn't just, some little hump of a ski jump. This is a pretty impressive architectural feat. If any of you, are fans of the Winter Olympics and watch the long jumping, this is the jump that the skiers go off of. And, they fly up into the air, and it almost looks like they're just gliding through the air endlessly. I have an issue with heights, so it wouldn't necessarily be my first choice of activity to go off of that ski jump. It is a little bit intimidating as well because I've been up to the top of it. And very conveniently, it's almost a one-stop shop because there's a graveyard literally located right to the right in the base of the ski jump, which I thought was kind of funny. I don't know if they did that strategically or not. The remainder of the day is yours to spend in Innsbruck, however you choose to, go about exploring the town via the choice on tour. Again, for those shoppers, guys, I'm very sorry. There is a 3-story Swarovski store about a stone's throw away from our hotel. There's actually, I believe, 3 different Swarovski stores all throughout Innsbruck. Swarovski, that, high-end, iconic Austrian crystal. Austria is the birthplace of Swarovski. So it's very fitting that there's numerous different stores. This was a tour that, again, my mom is my travel partner. I had to basically fireman carry her out of the Swarovski store. But, it is worth popping into, even if you're not a shopper, just to see some of the, different, high-end Austrian crystal. You can find anything from, earrings, bracelets to a $50,000, they had a Darth Vader Austrian crystal statue. They had a tiger statue. Basically a $50,000 expensive paperweight. But some people are very passionate about Swarovski, so you'll have a chance to explore the store, see what it's all about before the next day. We visit probably my favorite city in Austria, and that is Salzburg. It's a little bit less commercialized than like a Vienna. And Salzburg holds a couple of very special claims to fame. Us as Americans, we know Salzburg as the, home of the filming location of the iconic movie, The Sound of Music. And that's where we're going to have a chance to explore the Old Town section and see one of those famous filming locations from The Sound of Music, and that's the Mirabell Gardens. Again, you're going at a time where the gardens are in full bloom. It's absolutely beautiful. And, you get to see the iconic stairs, from the Sound of Music movie. In fact, when we were touring throughout the gardens, everyone has whisper headsets so you can hear the tour manager crystal clear. And of course, the tour manager started playing, the doe, a deer, a female deer, and we hear it in our headphones. And of course, the Sound of Music fans in the group, just started brimming ear to ear. You can also see the Hohensalzburg Castle in the background of the picture, which is the iconic fortress that overlooks the city. So we as Americans, we know Salzburg as the filming location of Sound of Music. We made that famous as a country. The Europeans know Salzburg to be famous as the birthplace of Mozart. It was right here in Salzburg that Mozart's birthplace is located. There is a small museum inside as well, so we'll have a chance to see the birthplace of the musical legend Mozart before we cut you loose and you've got some free time in the afternoon, whether you want to grab lunch, maybe you want to make your way up to that Hohensalzburg Castle. You take a short little cable car ride. There is a medieval museum up in the castle. There's a couple of different restaurants that overlook the city. It was something that I had a chance to do. I recommend it. It's, not real expensive to take the cable car up to the top of it. You don't have to necessarily do the tour through the entire castle. If you just want to grab a place or find a place to grab a light bite to eat, just have some incredible panoramic views. This is what the view looks like at the top of the Hohensalzburg Castle. Again, you see the river separating the Old Town section and the New Town section of Salzburg. Later on tonight, we've got a fantastic included dinner, again, at a local restaurant. And this is one of the wow experiences, in my opinion, because this is not just a dinner. This is a meal at a centuries-old restaurant. It's called St. Peter's Restaurant. And the claim to fame is that it dates all the way back to the year 803, and it's Central Europe's oldest restaurant. Still continuously owned and operated by the monks. The restaurant is absolutely beautiful. They've got different music halls throughout, different themed rooms, and the meal itself is just absolutely incredible. So after our dinner at the centuries-old St. Peter's Restaurant, we'll get you back into Innsbruck, and you've got an entire day free. It is so nice to have an entire day of leisure. It gives you a chance to sleep in a little bit, recharge the batteries, do some of the things that maybe you didn't have a chance to do in the base tour. This is really your chance to just customize your experience, make the trip exactly what you want it to be. We do have our second optional tour included on this free day. So again, if you do an option, you would just be giving up some of that free time. It doesn't take the place of any touring and sightseeing. And that option is Seefeld and Country Cottage visit. The cost of the option is $99. It includes transportation to this charming little Tyrolean town, nestled right in the heart of the mountains in the countryside. And it is known as one of the world's greatest ski resorts. In the summertime, it's absolutely beautiful. It offers, miles of walking trails, hidden little lakes, fine shopping, fine dining, and, you just get that fresh, Alpine air. And when we get to Seefeld, we like to travel in style. So we arrive by train. Today's almost planes, trains, and automobiles. You get there by train, and when you arrive in Seefeld, you're greeted with a glass of, traditional schnapps, which Seefeld is very well known for their schnapps. We board a horse and buggy, so we have a chance to travel in style, sit back, enjoy our schnapps as our horse and buggy takes us throughout this fairy tale little town. And they are also very well known for their apple strudels. So we have a chance to dive into some of Austria's famous sweets during a strudel making demonstration. trust me, with the strudel, there's no sugar, there's no calories or carbs in any of it. So, try multiple of the strudels. And it's nice because you get, the recipe, and you can come back and try your hand, for the bakers in the group, trying to make some of that traditional, Seefeld Austrian strudel. Again, the cost of the option is $99, and it takes approximately 5 hours. It includes all the transportation and everything. Not something that you have to do, but it's a good little way to fill in some of that free time and see something that wasn't included in the base of the tour. However you choose to go about spending that free day is up to you. Later tonight, we'll gather together as a group for a traditional Tyrolean folklore show to give you a little bit of a glimpse into some of that local culture, that, traditional music. They'll teach you about, the traditional Tyrolean garb that they're extremely well known for. Some of the famous dances, similar to almost like the Irish jig, like we experienced during our own version of the Tyrolean folklore show when I was in Ireland on that first welcome dinner that we did. Very famous for, the shoe slapping dance. It's just a very fun, very lively, very energetic evening. And a good way to dive into, again, some more of that Austrian culture before we start to wrap everything up as we travel to Bavaria, Germany, and we're going to tour the Linderhof Palace. It's the only palace out of the 3 that were built that King Ludwig II actually lived to see completed. So it has a very special place in German history and a very special palace to King Ludwig. And you'll learn all about his stories, some of his history throughout the tour. We'll walk the extraordinary hall. So yes, the tour takes you into the palace. The tour itself is about 2 hours. We'll see some of the iconic halls, some of the iconic, different themed rooms. The halls were, that were modeled after Versailles. So if any of you have been to Switzerland, if any of you have been to France and had a chance to see the Palace of Versailles, you'll see very, vast amounts of similarity to that Palace of Versailles, and basically see what royalty would have lived like back in the day. Before later tonight, we wrap everything up with a fantastic farewell dinner at a traditional local restaurant. It's a good way to wrap everything up on a good note. And then, as much as all of you probably fell in love with the 2 countrysides, with the Austrian and Switzerland culture, with the people, because they're absolutely fantastic. Both of these areas are very, very safe destinations. It is very much, a natural beauty tour, because the scenery that you see, is just wow factor after wow factor over the course of this tour. And I do invite all of you to join us in Switzerland, Austria, Bavaria. Maybe some of you didn't get, your fill and you want to extend a little bit. We do have an option. It's a 4-day post-tour extension, 4 days, 4 meals. And it's what we like to call hosted. So you have to be comfortable with a little bit more independent exploration, a little bit more of, time on your own. Now, don't get me wrong. It's not like we, just drop you in Vienna and say, bon voyage, have a great time. There'll still be Collette representation. There'll still be a representative there to help point you in the right direction. You just don't have that full-time tour manager like you would on the base tour. So there is still a little bit of touring and sightseeing in Vienna. Your local guide will take you to see some of the iconic sites. They'll teach you, how it was a former center of the Habsburgs. You'll learn all about the Habsburgs and their influence on Vienna and the surrounding little towns, as well as, the musical side. You'll hear all about Mozart, Beethoven, Strauss. The tour manager will also, the local guide will also take you to the crown jewel of the city, which is St. Stephen's Cathedral. It does have, the city itself and the cathedral do have a little bit of a turbulent history. During the war, unfortunately, the cathedral and some of the surrounding buildings in the city were bombed, but they have been since rebuilt, restored in the original image of when they were built back in the 12th century. And you'll be able to see, and the guide will be able to point out some of the buildings that stood the test of time during the war, during the bombings. You'll automatically just see, that, that older feel. The buildings are a little bit more weathered. They look a lot less new than some of the more recent buildings that were put up. And that's a dead giveaway that was an initial building and initial location that ended up surviving the bombings during the war. It is a city very well known for its music scene. So we feel like it would be a crime not to include some sort of music experience. So tonight in Vienna, we gather in the evening for a fantastic dinner and then a classical music concert, which highlights the works of, Austrian born Mozart and Strauss. I had a chance to do this as well for the music fans in the room. This is an incredible experience. It's an amazing dinner and then a show afterwards. And then the next remainder of the trip, after you get the lay of the land, is yours to just experience Vienna as you please. Maybe you want to venture a little bit outside of the city. And again, the hotel staff and concierge can point you in the right direction to help you secure tickets. One of the big things to do is visiting Schönbrunn Palace and learning a little bit more about the Habsburgs. This was essentially their summertime home, where they would get away from the city, and they would live in this modest little palace, which contains more than 1,000 rooms throughout. It is very popular to do, something that I recommend during some of the free time. Again, not required, but definitely a very cool experience during some of the free time. And if you are interested in doing the Vienna post-tour extension, it's 4 days, 3 nights. The cost is $9.99, so just shy of $1,000 per person. And I know that one of the worst parts about traveling is I shouldn't say worst, one of the most challenging parts about travel is the physical act of actually traveling. And one service that we provide as a company to kind of ease that travel a little bit is a hometown pickup. So we actually come out locally to Bowling Green. We pick everyone up right at the center, so you don't have to worry about the hassle of getting to and from the Detroit airport, paying for airport parking. None of it. Your vacation essentially starts from the moment that you leave locally in Bowling Green until we drop you off on the back end. So again, it is truly no frills travel. So I want everyone to know exactly what the price is, what's included, what exactly is my money getting me at the end of the day. So the price of this tour for a double, that means 2 people sharing a room, is $42.99. If you are going as a single, the single supplement is not bad whatsoever on this tour. It's an additional $300 for a single room. I've seen a heck of a lot higher. If you're used to cruises, usually it's about double the price of the initial tour for a single room. So any solo travelers in the group, this is a tour that is very single friendly. The only thing that I want to make you all aware of is single rooms and triple rooms are on a first come, first serve basis. So if you know you're going as a single or you know you're going as a triple, I recommend getting your deposit in sooner rather than later so that we can work on confirming those singles or triples rooms. But regardless of how you're traveling, what's included is the land. So when I say land, that means your hotel accommodations. That means all of your touring and sightseeing, any admission charges. That includes all of your motor coach transportation while you're in the different cities. That includes your dedicated tour manager, plus motor coach driver. You'll have numerous different local step-on guides from time to time just to provide a little bit of a different perspective on the tour. Air and tax is included as well from Detroit. All of your transfers, so once you get to the destination, your transfer from the airport to the hotel and vice versa. Hotel to hotel baggage handling is included. Tips for included meals are included into that price. The only thing that's not included are tips for the tour manager and for the motor coach driver, which is pretty standard when it comes to a guided tour. And we give you, about 3 weeks prior to departure, you get a nice, document booklet that walks you all through some of the ins and outs, gives you all the know before you go information, what the norm is in terms of tipping amount for the motor coach driver, step-on guides, and tour manager. So if any of you are interested in getting booked and signed up, maybe this is a bucket list trip for you, I do recommend at least getting deposited because we do cut the group off at 10 seats for Bowling Green. If you are interested in getting signed up, it's a $698 deposit plus insurance, which is $449. Insurance is due at the time of deposit. The really nice thing about the deposit and the travel insurance is they are both fully refundable up until February 8th. So there is no risk whatsoever involved to get your at least deposit in so we can start working on flight schedules, make sure you have your spot on tour. You've got up until February 8th if something happens that you decide, oh, I guess maybe this trip isn't for me, or something comes up health-wise, family-wise, whatever the case is. That February 8th date is that magic date to make note of. After that date, that's when our space is released, and the price point will jump up as well after that. So, and then final payment isn't due until June 8th. So you've got plenty of time between, now until final payment. Some folks like to, make periodic payments, installments along the way, which you've got the ability to do so traveling with Collette. But just want to make note that final payment is due on June 8th. So anyone that is interested in purchasing the travel insurance, our travel insurance is a little bit different than the typical insurance you might be used to, in that it allows our guests to cancel for absolutely any reason. We nickname it the bad hair day policy. It is truly any reason. You can cancel up until 24 hours prior to departure. And if something does happen, you have to cancel with us. We don't slap you with a travel voucher or future travel credit. It's a full cash refund, however you paid us. So if you cancel after that February 8th date, that's essentially when your travel insurance starts kicking in and actually working for you. So anything that you had paid for before, your deposit, if you made any payments along the way, everything's fully refundable minus the cost of that trip insurance premium, which again is $449. Over the course of the pandemic, that was an area that I think Collette really shined. We ended up refunding over $170 million of client money. And that was $170 million back in people's pockets. They weren't fighting with, a company to try and, maybe they couldn't use a travel voucher that might expire in a certain amount of time, or depending on who they were traveling with, couldn't get their money back at all. We made sure that, that's what we're all about as a company. We want to make sure our passengers are whole. $170 million is nothing to sneeze at. It was a big hit, but luckily we're such a financially stable enough company that we were able to weather that tough time. We took care of our guests during the pandemic, and now, we're seeing it pay dividends because our guests are taking care of us now that travel is finally back open and people are able to get out there and see the world. And then the travel insurance covers you while you're on tour as well. So it covers medical, lost baggage, trip delay, trip interruption, theft, evacuation, you name it. We make sure that the travel insurance has all the stops in place. And to be honest, with a trip like this, I almost see it as a way of protecting your investment. It's a lot better to have the insurance and not need it than need it and not have it, in my opinion. And again, the travel insurance is $449 per person, and it's due at the time of deposit. And then a couple of things, last but not least, we do have a loyalty program. So if this is your first trip with Collette, you like the experience, you like the travel style, you like the quality, and you choose to travel again with us, if you travel within a 12-month period of this trip, you get an extra $150 off per person. Or if you're, not an every year kind of traveler, maybe you're an every other year kind of traveler, if you travel within 2 years or 24 months, you get an extra $100 off per person. So just a way of us saying thank you for your loyal travels over the years. Some housekeeping, you do need a passport. So you've got plenty of time. If you don't have a passport, plenty of time to get one. If you do have a passport, do me a favor and check it. Make sure that's valid for up to 6 months beyond the travel date to this destination. This is not something that Collette requires. This is an everyone government stipulation. So take a look at your passport. If it looks like it's going to be expiring, make sure that you at least just get it renewed. But again, you've got plenty of time to take care of the passport situation. The biggest thing that I want to stress when it comes to signing up for the tour, and there's a couple of different avenues you can use. You can either talk with Danielle, and she can get you a physical reservation form that you can fill out and submit your payment information. Or If you're tech savvy enough, we do have a dedicated trip web link. The trip web link is on all of the individual flyers. I'll leave the trip web link up here as well in case any of you want to take a picture of it and write that trip web link down. You can get signed up directly online or filling out the reservation form, whichever you prefer. The biggest thing is submitting your name as it appears on your passport. If you don't have a passport, your legal government name, so no nicknames on this section, because whatever name that you provide us when you're booking and signing up is the name that we submit to the airlines. So if your name on your airline ticket does not match up 100% with what's on your passport, you're going to get stopped at airport security and you're not going to be let through. So the name section is the most important section when signing up. In terms of payment, we accept checks, credit cards. If you know where to find money orders nowadays, we accept money orders as well. There's no upcharge paying by credit card compared to paying by check. The price is exactly the same. I think that just about does it this time. I can open it up for any questions that y'all might have. What kind of questions do we got? Yep.
That's the medical insurance. What does that mean, or what does that cover?
Danielle, are you still in there? Maybe you could repeat it.
Yeah.
I was having a little bit of trouble hearing the question.
No problem. She was asking about the medical insurance.
What was the question?
What does it cover when you said medical assistance?
Oh, so your travel insurance, when it says medical assistance, what does that cover?
Basically anything on the medical side. Let's say hypothetically, maybe you became ill, or we've had travelers that have tripped, fallen. Maybe they need to go to the emergency room. They need to go to the hospital. That medical insurance would cover you in the event that something were to happen. We use a third-party company called TravelX when we're on tour. So if something were to happen, you need to submit a medical claim, you would go through TravelX. I'm not with TravelX, so they do not like me talking about specific, coverage amounts. But I can absolutely get you the TravelX link. And, if you're interested in getting additional information, what's covered, what are the specific coverage amounts, I can refer you to that TravelX page where you can get specific information on the plan link. But it is very nice to have that medical coverage because our medical insurance in the States does not cover us internationally. Any other questions? Nope.
Doesn't look like any other questions.
Okay. All right. Well, must have did an all right job of, covering all the meat and potatoes. If anyone does have any other questions, you can relay them on to Danielle and I'll do my darndest to get them answered. But hopefully y'all can join us on this trip because it is truly, one of those once in a lifetime bucket list trips. Like I said, I had a chance to do this itinerary and it is just such an amazing, amazing part of the world. I mean, it's got truly something for everyone. You've got so much history, you've got so much natural beauty. The people are just absolutely fantastic, very welcoming towards Americans and tourists. So I want to thank everyone for being here this morning, taking a little bit of time out of your day, if nothing else, just taking a little bit of a mental vacation. So thank you all very much and enjoy the rest of your day and have a great weekend.
Thank you, Mitchell.
All right. Thank you. Take care, guys.